following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Here we go, Barflies. Welcome to the Barfly Tailgate Show. You already know it's done by Barflies for Barflies and all the other Bears fans out there. Good morning, gentlemen. Another exciting week of Chicago Bears football, and we got a lot to talk about, fellas. We'll start off with some intros, and then I guess we'll just get right into it. Touche, how you doing today, man? How's your weekend been going?
Pretty good, man. I'll tell you, if you watch Weekend Sports Betting Tips, all three of us, free picks won, and the dog of the day won outright. So 4-0 Friday night. Tune in. They were asking, too. There was a few people in the – give us some locks. I gave out Arizona Wildcats versus Utah. I've been looking to fade Utah for a while, Jordan, but just no offense without Cam Rising.
No, I know it's a real bummer, but no,
I really love what Jed Fish has done down there, man. And Fafita at quarterback and DeLauro, yeah, it was okay. But the defense is playing inspired. So Wildcats was an easy -1 for me. Big winner yesterday. And then, Anthony and Sean gave out winners.
I just think we just got to put a quick 10-second hold on this and just let everybody know. I'll fucking put my life on it. I'll put, hands down on it. You are not going to find any better betting advice or free advice. I mean, that's the thing. You should be fucking charging for it, too. You and the fellas should be charging for it. And you mean to tell me that you could just get it for free? So anybody
that's for free right here on Barroom Network.
Yeah. Anybody that's in the chat right now, get your money on. Make some money listening to, I'm going to call you Grandmaster Tooch because that's what you are.
I gotta get that stuff on Spotify, man. Friday nights are a night out that I usually go out with the wife, so it's hard for me to tune in. But I'll have to.
You got two real life handicappers and me, but I'm actually 5-4-2 on the show, and other guys are 5-6. So I'm actually, go podcaster.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Chris, how you doing down there, man? How was your week?
I'm doing all right, fellas. Yeah, just the usual week of slip and sliding through life, but always great to get a chance to talk Bears football with you boys. And yeah, it feels like we're down at like Tucci's like dodgy bookies from like the 1980s in the north of England. That's what the background looks like to me. But yeah, lots to discuss, and it's great that we've got a game to look forward to tonight. So yeah, looking forward to the show, fellas.
Absolutely. Jordan, good morning, brother. How you doing today?
Good morning. It's a good day. I'm happy to be here, and I gotta say, I love hearing Chris Watts come through. No delay. That laptop that Shorty hooked him up with, everything's beautiful across the pond now.
Nice.
I'm telling you, I'm loving it. But no, I'm good. I'm happy to see you fellas. Excited to talk
move up a little closer, though. I think maybe so.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's
we don't need that. Hey, Tooch.
But yeah, no, just excited to talk chalk with you fellas, and interesting Saturday of college football. I don't know. I mean, we certainly don't have to get into. I know we have Bears fans here, but you know me, my specialty's draft talk. So if we ever want to get into it, we can.
Can we just for 5 seconds of college football talk?
Yeah.
because Georgia went into Mount Rocky Top and whipped some ass.
Yeah.
Who's the number one team? Michigan, man. I don't know, man.
So, I mean,
Michigan. I love JJ. He had a rough day yesterday. If he didn't throw that pick at the end of the first half, I think they covered the spread. But
let me go on to that a little bit too, because everybody here should know I'm a big JJ McCarthy fan.
Yeah,
but I'm also very honest and fair. JJ McCarthy had his worst game of the season yesterday against Maryland.
Yep.
I can obviously I like the guy, so of course I'd make a bunch of excuses. But anybody that watched the Penn State game saw he did injure his leg. He was not running around at that 4.4 speed as usual. So I think that's what some of it was. Therefore, that led to him not playing naturally and pressing. And that's how you end up getting those interceptions. Plus, I'll admit that's one of JJ's weak points in his game is he does tend to predetermine his reads. But to your point, Tooch, let's kind of go on to college football playoffs.
Yeah,
I love me some Michigan. I would love to sit here and believe me, 3 weeks ago I'd have been like, oh, trust me, Michigan's going to roll through. JJ is going to pop off. But now that his health's in question, that offensive line is shit. They have one receiver and one tight end, and that's it. So to me, just because we've seen Georgia and Michigan go at it again, Georgia's going to fucking steamroll Michigan. And you have my mark on it. The defense lets up. I mean, you had Talia Tagovailoa putting up points on Michigan. So I think Michigan's an early out. So we're going to see, I'll tell you what, I mean, it sounds crazy, and I do think Georgia ends up winning it all. But Bama looks interesting. They look strong again.
That's going to be a SEC championship. It's going to be one hell of a game. I can't. I mean, Aaron's sitting over there, and he's like, "Stop talking with the Georgia and the Alabama."
No, Georgia's going for the three-peat. Alabama's turned it around, and they can both think nothing better than Kentucky. Let's look at when Georgia turned it around. They dropped 51 on Kentucky, and all of a sudden they're rolling. Last week we played Alabama, and Jalen Milroe went for 6 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 3 through the air. So they're turning it around. They can look no further than Kentucky. You're welcome for turning it. Last night we played South Carolina and lost the freaking game somehow to a team that we shouldn't have lost to. So when they turn it around next week and beat Clemson and get bowl eligible, you can think we're like good luck Chuck. That's what it is.
Good luck Chuck. But yeah, I mean, Tooch, I think you got a good point there. It's unfortunately we can all talk up in Oregon, a Washington, a Michigan, and Ohio State.
A little interesting team there, but
yeah, they are.
Kalen DeBoer's done a great job, right? Is that the coach there?
Yeah. It's just the problem is, don't get me wrong, and I'll stand on a box on this one. Washington has the best offensive talent in all of college football. And this is, the whole Penix and Bo Nix thing too. Bo Nix, why is he so good? Well, when you spend 6 years in college, you're going to have a lot of experience.
Why all the defenses?
why is Penix so good? Because when you spend 6 years in college, this is what happens.
J.P. Daniels and him are getting their ARP cards.
Yeah, 100%. So, but when you're talking about Jalen McMillan, Rome Odunze, and they just got ballers over there. So I think that Washington is going to be interesting. But to your point, Tooch, as much as they're an interesting team, they're not going to be able to play defense against SEC. And I'll always stand by that. I don't care if it's Utah, the strongest defense in Pac-12.
Yep.
Pac-12 does not hold up.
Arizona lit them up yesterday too.
Yeah.
With Utah, it was like 21-0 in the first quarter.
So I'm saying, and that Utah has a decent defense, but Pac-12 just cannot play up to the physicality levels of the SEC, ACC, and Big Ten. It's just not going to happen.
We got Mark Kozak asking, how about Iowa? That was a bet I lost yesterday. I had Iowa -3
over,
and they won by 2.
And it went over too, didn't it? Go over the total?
I didn't look at the that total this week. They finally, I think, have found a spot where they can put them down to where you can't bet the under and hit.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't able to watch a ton. I had to take the girls to a birthday party, and then we had the Christmas tree lighting at my parish. So it was like a full day of watching games on my phone. But when I could get home, watch some games.
Yeah. And one guy that we talked about last week, they're talking in the chat, LSU quarterback moving up draft boards. We talked about Jaden Daniels last week. Jordan, do you think that's a guy do you think he would fall to the second round? I mean, right now we don't have a second round pick, but in my mind, I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. 1 and then try to trade back at 5 if you can pick up a second round pick and Jaden Daniels falls in your lap. Would you be happy with that? Or
I gotta tell you, I mean, you guys are gonna call me a hater or something.
No, I mean, I want your opinion.
I hope that Jaden listens to this because I don't know if you fellas know this. Jaden Daniels went to my high school. We're alumni. He went to Cajon High, San Bernardino, California. So know him very well, know his family very well. Obviously, Coach Rogers, what's up? But with that being said, I'm not a huge fan of Jaden Daniels.
Come on, he went to high school. What the
I know, but that's the thing. I hate to say it. He's a guy. He's fun. He's got a great deep ball. Yes, he's athletic. I hear all that. Puts his body in danger too much for me. Has a slight frame, and it helps when you're playing with two what I consider baller ass receivers. And so
they always got them down there at LSU.
And to your point, AC, this is where I think I'm going to really diverge. Is you were talking about top 5. I wouldn't touch Jaden Daniels within the first 50 picks. I think I'm being generous there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. That's me. I'm not saying somebody will fall in love, but to me, I don't think that's my type of guy. I'd take him. Probably. He was a DTR range guy to me before the season started, and to me, I had DTR in the 3rd last year, so Jaden in the 3rd. But I will absolutely admit, I'm not a hater. When you put up a year like this year, then yes, you're going to float up my board. But I'm not just because you're throwing to Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. All of a sudden, I'm gonna go. Oh, and you had 8 touchdowns last night against a nobody team. Oh man, pay it down. Top 5. No, that's not how.
That's true. They played Georgia State last night. So
yeah, no, that's yeah. So I hope that answered your question.
Malik Neighbors would be a nice consolation prize if you don't get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Maybe it's just me and I'm just falling in love, but I think Marvin Harrison Jr. I said, I would take him at 1. I would take him over anyone in this draft.
Yep.
We've seen Caleb Williams starting to fall off and make mistakes, and we've seen Drake May. I guess he's fine. He lost to Clemson yesterday.
He's playing with nobody, though.
Right.
Offensive line.
Hold on.
There we go.
The defense is terrible.
Hold on. I understand, Tooch, but this is the thing, because I'm another one that I'm always going to stand on. I know AC's heard this for months now from me. I mean, I have it on Twitter thousands of times.
The next Josh Downs is right.
No,
right
it's just Drake May. What is my biggest negative on him? And I know, and let me be clear, QB wins are not a stat, or wins are not a QB stat, excuse me. But he consistently, biggest negative on his card. So Caleb, biggest negative, doesn't play in structure enough. Drake May's biggest negative in my scouting report, consistently plays down to competition. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's fucking Georgia Tech, if it's App State, if it's Clemson, if it's Virginia. If you're that dude, then at what point do you just all of a sudden lift everybody up around you? Because don't get me wrong, I hear he puts up a lot of great numbers.
This is why you like JJ.
Because that's my thing.
He lifts the team up. I get it.
And so to your point of he doesn't have anybody around him, he's throwing to JJ Jones, Bryson Nesbitt, Tez Walker. Let's just go through this. Let's go through this. Caleb's throwing to Singer, to Branch, to Rice. Who's JJ throwing to?
Nobody.
Roman
he's
Wilson.
He's got a tight end, I think.
It's Colston Loveland and Roman Wilson. Yeah. And Colston Loveland, the reason, and listen, this is not a shot. I mean, I got Colston Loveland's parents watching my stuff.
And JJ's tight end's been injured too for a couple of games.
And I like Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson's a guy I've called Diet Chris Olave. And he went out yesterday. That's the thing, too. Nobody wants to talk about this shit. He went out yesterday. So who was JJ throwing to? Oh, I wish he had a Zachariah Branch.
They couldn't run the ball either. The Michigan line, I don't know I talk about the Michigan playing down the competition. They couldn't run the ball yesterday. That hurt.
And Blake Corum, and I mean, look, I like giving out my little. You're a better Tooch. I'm sorry for all the draft talk, Chad. If you don't want to hear the draft talk, just let us know. We'll move on. But I mean,
I'm here for anything, man.
Yeah, you want draft nuggets. I'm going to just drop some for you. So Blake Corum, everybody's darling of the dance. Diet Doug Martin, muscle hamster. If anybody remembers him, that's what Blake Corum is.
Right, the muscle ham. I forgot that. What was his name again?
Doug Martin, muscle hamster.
Martin. Okay.
Yeah, Doug Martin, Boise State running back, went to Tampa Bay.
Right?
Yeah, that's what Blake Corum is. I mean, it's and this is what I just hope everybody understands, because for whatever reason, too, I don't know if you've seen this. JJ McCarthy is the most divisive quarterback prospect. I know everybody thinks Caleb Williams is and everything. You mentioned JJ McCarthy. I saw Jay Sanders here go, oh, JJ McCarthy is trash. And I got Ross Reed. Look, and I'm not trying to totally take shots at Ross Reed. I
think JJ is going to be a good pro. Man, I'll tell you right now.
Ross Reed is over here. Look, Ross, it's all love. You're more than welcome to come on. We can talk it out. But Ross, I got Ross Reed over here on Twitter going, JJ can't throw the ball deep. Like, do you watch Michigan football, my guy? Do you watch him play? But yeah. So, anyways,
well, JJ can make all the throws.
Hey, you got me on another one this morning. You could tell.
Well,
I'm fired up.
Wait till I ask Aaron about Cincinnati versus Northern Kentucky today in basketball.
I don't know why you'd ask me. I don't know. Fuck.
That's a big rivalry, man. I like Cincinnati.
They're right next to each other. Yeah, go ahead.
Give me the Bearcats in that one.
Before we move off quarterbacks, I heard on the score this week, and it actually kind of made sense. You don't hear a lot of takes that I think make sense. But they talked about, just like I said, grab Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1, and then take Michael Penix as your quarterback. Where he's a lefty, you have your best offensive lineman. Technically, it will be his blindside blocker in Darnell Wright. Would that make sense to you, Jordan? Or any? No, you don't like Penix either.
I loved Penix. So I
like
priors.
Penix. I think he'll be all right.
I have priors. Penix was my favorite quarterback that didn't come out last year. I had wanted him as the Fields backup. But I'm a medical guy, man. So, for example, Latu Latu, UCLA edge. Yes, he's putting up the best numbers. Not my guy. I'm not taking chances with neck issues. So what does this have to do with Penix? Both ACLs torn, messed up shoulder. He's got, I believe, a variety of other issues too. Like, I'm just giving you the big hits.
What a shame, because he's a baller, man.
He is a baller. And look, injuries can happen to anybody. So I'm totally understanding of that. But I can't sit here and put an older prospect with that level of wear and tear, that level of injury history. I don't care if he throws left-handed. I'll go find me I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I'm not at all saying that's a bad thing. It's just that to me sounds gimmicky. Like, well, we got to draft a quarterback that throws with a certain hand because Darnell Wright's on the right side. If Darnell Wright's that dude, then he's Tristan Wirfs. Move him to the left side. Like, it's
that's really the biggest question, man. I mean, if you're taking a new quarterback,
please God,
you can't have these coaches here. It's just restarting the cycle of can't do anything with a good quarterback.
That's true. That's very true. Well, I guess that leads us right into some Bears talk because I've been on it since they hired this guy. I'm not a fan of him, and he makes me look even smarter when he gets up there to talk to the media because he looks like he's lost to anybody in the media. And yeah, that's a great point, Mark. We have to get a different coaching staff in here from top to bottom, in my opinion.
Me too.
I don't know if Poles will pull the trigger though, because every chance he gets, he's singing this guy's praises like he's fucking Bill Belichick or something.
If you were going into an ice cream shop and you're going to order a scoop of ice cream, Eberflus is fucking vanilla.
I love vanilla ice cream.
I know, but you want to get the moose tracks, man. Fucking coach. You know what I'm saying? With all the good stuff in it.
Yeah. Actually, I went and got, I don't know if you guys have me on Facebook or Instagram. I went to an ice cream shop last night and your boy they had a Christmas tree cake shake and it was amazing. They put a whole Christmas tree cake on top of it. And then the insides of it, it's got cake frosting and sprinkled all kinds. It was so good. And my wife got
some mint flavor in there for Christmas.
No, it's like it tasted like a cake, like a Christmas tree cake inside of it. My wife got Santa cookies, and that was really good too. So yeah, that's what I did before I
love this time of year, man. I love this time of year. I love the food this time of year. I love the football. Playoffs, college basketball is the best time. It's
NBA basketball.
Yeah,
I mean, shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They won me $450 last night.
Thunder buddies.
Yeah. My two biggest bets that I know I'm not on your handicapper show, but my two biggest bets of the year have been OKC. I bet OKC against the Lakers. I pushed that line up as far as it would let me because I was like, they're going to blow them out. And I won. I don't remember. I won a couple $100 there. And then last night I had a big parlay with OKC covering. I had the over. I had Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over, and I had Andrew Wiggins over. And that paid me $450 on a $25 bet. So shout out to Oklahoma City.
Your wife was like, "Come over here, you sexy man. Let's get in that bedroom."
Well, we didn't say it until this morning because it didn't happen after our bedtime. But yeah. we should probably get into some Bears talk.
Bears, Lions, man.
The Bears take on the Lions today. This spread has jumped up and down.
Yeah.
I think it's at 8 right now.
Opened at 10.5, minus 7.5s are out there. Because Justin Fields was announced as a starter. Is Fields worth 3 points? I don't know, man. Last time
it jumped right away. I am wearing my Fields jersey today because I am happy that he is back. I hope that he plays well. If he finishes well this season, guys, do you think maybe all this quarterback talk is for naught? I know how you feel, Jordan. I know
leave me out of it.
You're ready to move on, but C-Dub and Tooch, if he finishes the season strong, do you think?
Go ahead. Chris hasn't talked in a while. We'll let Chris C-Dub talk a little bit here.
I think regarding Fields, I think if he finishes strong over the next sort of 5 or 6 games, I think Eberflus will use that to say, look, his improvements, we don't need to get a new quarterback so we can get better players to put around Fields. I think that may be the way they might go. I think they might stick with him. If he plays terrible, then I don't think they've got any choice. They'd have to replace the quarterback because that'd be like 3 years in. I know he's not had the sort of easiest ride, but at the end of the day, you are like a first round pick quarterback, and you are supposed to sometimes take over the game and so the Bears win the game. We haven't seen that on a consistent basis. So it's like what everybody's saying in the media. Really, it's sort of like for Fields, it's like it's sort of like these 7 games have got to like be all or prove it all sort of thing. Which is it's all right saying that, but then you got to look about how many games he has lost as well, which is double digits. Yeah, it's very hard, but I think Eberflus might sneak another year. I reckon he might fire Getsy, and I reckon Eberflus will sell it because his defense has got better. And I'm not saying I want that to happen at all because I don't, but I reckon that's how he'll sell it to the McCaskies, and that may be how they'll sell it back to us, Joe Public.
Well, the defense has definitely improved since he took over play calling, and since he brought in a guy by the name of Phil Snow. I don't know what secret concoction he's got cooking up in the background.
You're not familiar with Phil Snow's game, AC?
I mean, no, I was not. I'm the Shaq meme. I'm sorry, I was not familiar.
No, that's okay. Like, I mean, let me wax a little poetic. I love the fucking hire, and it's not because I'm Mr. You guys know I'm not Mr. Bears fan. I ball watch everything about the Bears. Phil Snow, Baylor DC when Matt Rule was there, specialized in 3-3-5 defense.
So was he there with Billings already?
Yeah, but no, I don't believe it was during that time. I think he came after. But 3-3-5 defense, so 3 down linemen, 3 backers, 5 DBs. Obviously, that would be, it was a little unique. It's now kind of proliferated in the college game.
Mississippi State and South Carolina is starting to run it now. So
yeah. But that's its point. He's a little ahead of his time. Took that to the NFL with the Panthers. Played a very multiple defense. Used guys like Jeremy Chin in a very unique way. Brian Burns, Morgan Fox. So really a creative mind that really was versatile in his personnel use, and then created unique creepers and sims and blitzes from those packages that really kind of positionless football. And I know that sounds all gimmicky, but that's really where the NFL is trying to go today. That's why you have Debo playing wide back. That's why you have, you're looking for quarterbacks that can create with their legs. You're looking for positionless football. Hey, what if Kyle Pitts is a tight end, but technically he can play X receiver? I mean, this is Bijan. He's a running back, but he can line up in the slot and run receiver routes. This is what you're looking for. So you want to try to match that on defense with players like Jeremy Chin that can line up all over the place. That's why Brian Branch, a player that the Bears are going against today, is so valuable. So I don't wax too much more, but Phil Snow, fuck, man, get Eberflus out the building. Let Phil Snow run the defense and watch shit really pop off.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, I was not familiar with how good he was. I know he came from the Panthers.
Look at the run defense.
Our run defense is top 3.
Yeah. Yeah, 1 and 2 and 3 are Bears and Lions versus the rush. Rushing games allowed. Bears allowed 76 yards rushing per game, and the Lions 79. Right? There's not going to be a lot of running in this game unless Fields escapes and goes for a long touchdown like he did last year. But last year's game was at Detroit was 41-10. We lost, and Fields threw for 75 yards, threw a pick 6, fumbled. It was not a good game, man. That's why I'm a little scared of this game for the Bears. The line dropped. The line has been doing way too much crazy stuff for me. I think. there's pros on the Bears. I mean, Anthony, my partner at PowderSports.com, likes Bears plus 5.5 first half. And Bears have been strong in the first half. It's the second half is where they collapse.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear that. I'm just like, I would look. I'm always wrong on the Bears, so they probably will too. But I just don't see. I think that I'd like to think that Dan Campbell's coached up the boys enough to say, look, don't let this be a trap game. We're the more physical team, and as good as this run defense is, and I'm looking forward to the matchup. The Lions have a really solid offensive line, and I'm not. And this is the thing
one
about
of the best.
They keep, but this is my favorite part. No, you haven't even let me talk about Ben Johnson yet. That's the beautiful part about what the Lions. I know this isn't a Lions podcast, but Don Burr's going to love this. The best part about that team is that they never have a healthy offensive line, and they still don't slow down. They're always moving dudes. So as far as the run defense goes, we're going to see who's really that dude on the Bears front because, I mean, that's going to be the battle. Is can Montgomery and Gibbs just beat you up? And then have Goff, which is what he's always been good at, come off the play action and then hit Amon-Ra or, God forbid, Jameson Williams on that deep post and watch somebody like Brisker get caught in the middle of it.
I completely agree with you, Jordan. Like, I watched the highlights of the last game, and they were showing you like how they created a passing pocket, and it was literally just like somebody did a diagram in a coaching manual. That perfect, and I think that's why Goff's having so much success. Really, because he's just getting that bit of time, and if he's ready to go back once he's got a bit of time, it can be really effective. I reckon like the two defensive could stop the running game, and it could be down to the two quarterbacks. And at this moment in time, you'd have to say Goff has got a foot ahead of Fields at this moment in time.
Yeah, well. I don't know how to segue into this, but my man is backstage. KB,
he's got a little cutie with him.
He's coming in on his phone today. What's good, brother? How you doing this morning?
Doing all right, man. Did a little moving around this morning, and thought I had my laptop packed up. Didn't. So I sat there and I looked. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I had it in this part of the bag, and it's not. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So man, your boy in here on the phone today, man, and baby girl is not leaving me alone.
Hello.
So.
Is that your daughter who bought a couple
What a
of years
cutie.
because she's seen her grow every season. She's just getting a little bit taller.
Yeah, she is, man, and she's at the point now where she's all about daddy. So it's it was cute when it started. It's not anymore. It's
she's got you wrapped around her little finger. Don't lie.
She do. Now she's trying to leave. Are you leaving? What are you doing? Yep, we'll find out.
Anyway, so all you really missed, we talked a little college football to kick off the show, talked about what we saw yesterday, and we just got into Bears Lions, and Jordan was talking a little about Phil Snow and
Yep, the last game
Johnson,
of Bears.
the Lions OC, and some of those. I know someone in the chat was saying no more, no right. I looked up the injury report, and basically what he was saying was last year when we got blown out by the Lions, we didn't have DJ Moore or Darnell Wright. So I was a little worried at first. I was like, "Holy crap! I hadn't heard this news," and then I realized what he was referring to.
It was a much worse team last year, but I mean, still that was an ass whipping. I'd
argue the Lions are a much better team this year. Like, I mean. It's
a lot of people are putting this Lions team, they say they're the third best team in the NFC behind the 49ers and the Eagles. So you're up against a tough task. And Dan Campbell talked this week about the toughness that the Bears play with and how we're building something here. And obviously he's got to say nice things in front of the media. I don't know if he truly believes that or not, but that was cool to hear from Dan Campbell, giving Eberflus praise. But I don't know. I'm still not an Eberflus guy. I don't know if he can do anything to change my mind on that, honestly. But KB, how you feeling about this game today, brother?
Personally, not the best. I'm not gonna come out here and fan and say we'll win this game, or I'm just praying that the game is
competitive.
That's all I'm looking for. I would love to see Justin Fields come in and have control of the offense. Even though I'm also not going to stack this on the plate. The man's been out for 4 weeks or 4 games. Not going to expect him to come out and light it up for 400 yards. That Detroit Lions defense is tough, but on the other hand, they are gettable. You know what I'm saying?
They've given up a lot of points. I think the last 2 weeks they've given up 35 and 38 or something. And that was the Chargers last week, and I don't remember who they played the week before, but they're susceptible to give up a big number of points, but as are we. I mean, look at what we did against the Chiefs. Look no further than that.
So, like I said, I'm just hoping the game is competitive. I would love to see Justin Fields look good. As you know, 7 games left. We got to see something. But it's we're 2 teams going in opposite directions right now. We're starting at the bottom and trying to climb back out the gutter. So, Detroit has found a way to do that finally after 50 years. So it's just 2 teams in different points of their arcs. Detroit is at the top now. Maybe they can go further than what they have before. Who knows? Maybe this is the ceiling.
Yeah,
we're hoping that the Bears find this type of success later on. But as far as this game goes, man, like I said, I just want to see it be a competitive game, man. That's it.
Yeah. Well, like Tooch said, both these teams are at the top of the league in rush defense.
Yep.
So this is David Montgomery revenge game, and they got Jahmyr Gibbs over there, and it looks like Khalil Herbert's coming back for us, and Deontay Foreman is quickly. Even my wife was like, I really like 21. I like the way he runs the ball. So he's becoming we got all the daughters in the house today. So the run game may be a question mark or almost a scratch for both sides, but it's the passing game that worries me. I think we have to get DJ Moore involved, obviously, and the Lions are going to – a lot of teams have been picking on Tyreek Stevenson this year. I think that may continue today with Amon-Ra St. Brown and his fantastic route running ability, and they're using Sam Laporta to – Iowa, they just breed tight ends out there.
Bears have not been good versus the tight end either this year. It's one guy you got to work on. But I'll tell you, Lions have not been good against number 2 wide receivers. So Darnell Mooney might have a good game today too. But man, the Lions have. When I look at the Lions draft, I was like, what? They got a couple Iowa boys, so I was kind of happy. But I'm like, okay, these guys and Brian Branch too. Those guys, all 3 of those guys have produced big time for that Iowa team. For the Detroit team. Jordan, you got to agree with
everybody,
me.
Listen, I was kind of one of them, so I'll admit.
Laporta, Campbell, and Branch have made a huge impact.
I'll eat some crow on this because I was one of them, but there were so many people talking mad shit. Oh my God, you drafted a running back in the top 10.
And Jahmyr Gibbs too. Yeah,
you
all
said
4
you
of
would
them.
have taken him ahead of Bijan, and oh my God, did you take an off-ball linebacker? Positional value. And the thing is, I get it. It's not sexy, but those dudes, every dude that they drafted, I got to give Brad Holmes credit. They're all glue. They're all glue dudes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Campbell, glue guy.
I love Jack Campbell.
Like they're all glue.
Yeah,
That's what Laporta is. Laporta's like Mr. Selfless. I'll block. I'll catch. I'll do what I can. And he knows that coming from Iowa, where he was the offense.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was him and nobody else. And so Brad Holmes has done a fantastic job building the team, and I think. KB brought up a great point earlier. Is they're just 2 teams in 2 different spots and directions right now.
Yeah.
One is clearly going one way while the other is not, and that can certainly we can get frustrated about that as Bears fans. But the reality is, and I think that's where a lot of frustration comes from the fan base is you are feeling like at this point, everything the team's doing. Ryan Poles has reset the roster. He's invested draft picks. He's spent some money. The team should be going this way, and they're not.
Right.
Whereas, the Lions, they've done their reset, and all of a sudden you see draft development. Players that are drafted are developing. They're bringing guys like John Kaminsky in, and Kaminsky's finding a way to contribute. And I'm sure half the guys on here probably don't even know who John Kaminsky is, but
no clue.
This is what I'm talking about. Is so
I was going to say, he a D lineman, ain't he?
He plays hockey, right?
Yeah, defensive tackle or something, I think, right?
it's just, and it's not even just the rookies. Like guys like Aleem McNeil, who was a 3rd-round pick out of NC State that they drafted was kind of not really finding a spot, and he's really lifted off this year. So, I mean, it's interesting, and I think I forgot who said it, but you guys make a very good point. I'll be the first to admit it. As much as you'll hear me talk positively about the Lions, you absolutely can get after them. I mean, if you were asking me in April, what do they need? They need either interior defensive linemen or cornerbacks, and those both play benefit to the Bears. If the Bears can run on them, that's excellent, and then that opens up some opportunities. And alternatively, too, like you said, they're struggling against wide receiver twos because they've had some attrition at the cornerback room, and their cornerback room's not necessarily the strongest. They ended up taking – this is why they got some heat. They ended up taking a Jahmyr Gibbs when everybody was saying you should have gone with a Jalen Carter or found a way to go snag a cornerback.
Yeah, they could have went with Christian Gonzalez. It was the mock draft I saw a lot for them was the corner out of Oregon, but he went to the Patriots instead.
Not the running back from Kentucky that's going to play today for the Commanders.
No,
right? That's Chris Martinez.
That's Chris Rodriguez. Jr.
Chris Rodriguez, sorry.
Yeah.
I got the Latin names.
But before we move off tight end, how are the Lions against the tight end? Because Cole Kmet quietly has been putting up like he's been doing really well. I don't know if that was just a Bajan thing. I can't remember if that was with Justin as well. But the things he's doing this year, going up and getting the ball and fighting for – I mean, we've always seen him fight for extra yards, but fighting DBs for the ball and stuff, we didn't see stuff like that. And he's putting up big numbers. So definitely shout out to Kmet. But how are the Lions against the tight end? Chris, do you think that's something we can exploit against this Lions team?
I mean, I hope it is. I mean, I'm not too sure about how their linebackers are on covering tight ends, but you got to give it to Kmet, man. It's this season, I think he's just blossomed. I always say it takes about 3 years for a tight end to really get into the groove of the NFL. But yeah, I'm just hoping they're going to use him a lot, really. I can imagine like Fields will be looking for him as a bit of a, check out when he don't get his first read. So yeah, I hope he has a really good game, man. I mean, I know the Lions, they've got a really good rookie tight end, which the Bears have got to be really, really careful of. He's been racking up the stats, but I tell you what interests me though, AC, is what do you guys think about the offensive line now? Because this is like probably the healthiest it's been, and I put Nate Davis has come back to the right, they put Jenkins back to the left. So I just wonder what you guys thought about that. Let's take it to KB because he was shaking his head.
He's mad that
absolute fucking mistake, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We talked about this last week. If he was gonna come back, there was no way that you should have took Tevin Jenkins off the right side. You should have looked Nate Davis in the eyes and said, "Look, we like the dynamic over there. The two young boys are playing well together. We need you to be a veteran. We need you to learn how to play left. Move him to the left side." There has to be some point where continuity is established on this fucking line, and folks have set positions and are put in right positions. You started to see it. You saw we started to get the whole fairy tale. Look, that right side was the fucking Bash Bros from fucking Mighty Ducks. Okay,
good young players that could grow together.
Right, them boys were playing off each other. They're probably the two of the strongest boys on the line, and probably two of the fucking meanest. Yes, keep them on the right side together. Don't split them up. Make Nate Davis fucking learn that position over there on the left. He's a pro. He's been here. He's done it. You know what I'm saying?
Making all that money, man. You got to expect more out.
Thank you. I don't agree with it. I'm happy Nate Davis is back. It's nice to have that full complement of the line for what it's worth. But I'm sorry. As soon as it came back and it was, oh yeah, we're putting him back on the left, I checked out, bro. I stopped listening.
Yeah, the one positive out of that is Whitehair because he has not had a good season. It seems like his time in Chicago is coming to an end. So
I thought he should have been cut before the season.
Well, on any other team, he would have been, but we needed O-line, and
too many injuries.
He was the longest veteran here. He knew the system. He knows the ins and outs, and you would think he would be a leader of that offensive line room, but it seemed like Lucas Patrick, when they signed him last year, became the leader on the offensive line. I would love to see Tevin or Darnell Wright take more of a leadership role because I feel like your best players should also be your leaders and should be the ones you get behind. But yeah,
I mean, it's hard to be a leader when they treat you like the redheaded stepchild. And
that's true.
Move you
That's
from
true,
tackle
Jordan.
to guard to left guard to right guard to maybe we're going to trade your ass.
Just like Michael said, it's Kyle Long all over again.
Fuck,
Move him here, move him there, and it's.
I mean, the problem is they've always treated Tevin Jenkins like the redheaded stepchild since this new regime came in, and I know it's we were motivating him and everything like that, but I mean, you've heard. Look, and I'll fill up the priors. There was an interview with Tevin Jenkins at his locker room last year where he was like, they were asking him, "Were you scared to possibly have to leave Chicago?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's hard when you don't really know where you sit on a team and what's going on." And obviously, he's in a much better spot now. But boy, it's Cody can find a spot, and I mean, to be fair, they're bouncing everybody around. But I'm with KB on this. Like, at some point, if you've got continuity and success with having Tevin at right guard, look. I get it, man. Nate Davis is the $30 million man. I get that he's had as a spot. You want to make sure that money pays off. But at some point, look, man, I got to have you try left guard. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. Rather than continue to bounce Jenkins around like he's, your sixth man on an NBA lineup, it just doesn't make sense.
I just want to say this real quick, and I'll let y'all go back. Tevin Jenkins is the best offensive lineman we got. Hands down. He is the best offensive lineman we have. Oh, shit. Well,
they didn't like that take.
She's a Darnell Wright supporter, KB.
You said what?
She's a Darnell Wright supporter. You watch your mouth.
She might be. Hey, look, Darnell Wright is a hand pat on the back away from Tevin Jenkins. But
no, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Oh yeah, I know. But those are my 1 and 2s right now. My thing is this: Tevin Jenkins is coming up in a goddamn contract year pretty soon.
Yep.
You have to figure out what the fuck his position is, and you need to get him established right away.
Sanders says they're moving him to center next.
Shit, I wouldn't be surprised. But that's all I want to say.
Can he snap? Well, I mean, if Tevin can snap, I don't know. Maybe that'd be a good position for him. I don't know. But yeah, it's a mess, and it feels like the last time I can remember shuffling on the offensive line like this, it was under Lovie Smith, who Eberflus came in as like, this is our Lovie Smith, and now here we are in the same position where we're shuffling offensive linemen. Thankfully, we have a 5th round left tackle, not a 7th round left tackle that probably shouldn't have been on the team.
There's just no team that does it as much as the Bears. And don't get me wrong, the Packers, they have Zach Tom play at a few places. They've had Elton Jenkins move a few places, and you got Patrick McCarry, who's kind of moved all over the place in Baltimore. So it happens at other teams. But on a year-to-year basis, with not just – and it's not just
week basis.
Week to week, year to year, not just one person. It's multiple personnel. Nobody does it like the Chicago Bears when it comes to miscasting people.
Jay Sanders is on today. Jay Sanders is on one today. He said Tevin at 3 tech would be amazing. Oh man,
Tevin's going to put on the Superman cape. We'll put him at safety. We'll put him at corner. We'll put him at 3 tech. We'll make him center.
We got to upgrade the center position this offseason.
Yeah,
no question.
I mean, we traded for a guy that I liked a lot. At least I didn't know who the hell he was before we traded for him. But we traded for that guy.
Ain't seen the field once.
Ain't seen the field.
Yeah, Feeney, right?
Feeney. If my guy's drinking beers at hockey games and he's got a mullet, he can start on my offensive line.
Patrick is terrible. He can't. He's a guy from Green Bay, and he knows the line calls, and that's it. He sucks.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, of course, I'm going to say this, but I think you fellas remember when they traded for Feeney, I was not very happy about it. I was like, at this point, you're trading this pick for this guy that doesn't have an immediate role, and I mean, look, it's just another sign of I don't know why we continue to even, and not just us. I know we don't, but anybody in Bearslandia continues to trust this staff evaluating talent.
Ryan Poles is young, and he sticks his finger in all the holes of the dam where all the water's leaking in. Yeah. I mean, he hit with Sweat. That looks like a good acquisition. Missed with Claypool. Grabbed Feeney, like you said, and then never used him. Nobody was like.
And some of these are low cost, but I mean, let's not forget like the N'Keal Harry one. And I know N'Keal had 1 or 2 touchdowns, but that one, I get it's a young GM, but there's a lot of moves out of desperation when it's
that's what I mean. He's got his fingers stuck in the damn crack.
Shit, we need an X wide receiver. Let's fuck
before
man.
the dam bursts.
I didn't take George Pickens or Alec Pierce. I need an X receiver. Fuck it, I'll trade for N'Keal Harry. Shit, that didn't work. How about Chase Claypool? We can blow the X receiver.
Damn it.
Shit, that didn't work. Like it's just
and he's a guy that preaches you build through the draft. He just trades away his draft picks. That's why I don't get it. But yeah, it's that desperation. That's all. But you guys were asking about the tight end. Look, neither team's good against the tight end. The Bears and Lions. Lions have allowed 47 receptions this season to the tight end for 500 yards. The Bears are worse, 64 receptions for over 505 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns for the Lions. So yeah, both tight ends could be in for good days today.
Are we getting Tremaine Edmonds back in this game? Was he on the injury report? Does anybody know? Because I mean, I'm cool with Jack Sanborn, but I don't know.
Sanborn's outplayed him.
Yeah, but the one thing I think Edmonds would have got that Sanborn didn't get was the game sealing interception a couple weeks ago that hit Sanborn right in the hands. I just Sam Laporte has been. I mean, like you said, Jordan, or someone said it. Maybe it was Chris. It usually takes 2 to 3 years for a tight end to really see their full potential in the NFL, and here he is as a rookie, just straight balling out. There's no other way to put it. He's came in and they've built their offense kind of around him. Which Jordan, as you've spoke on, trying to get Ben Johnson over here as our head coach. You know, that I think Komet would be on board for that.
Something you said earlier, and like anybody that watches the Lions film, I think this is a pretty fair comparison. He called Eberflus like vanilla, or just being vanilla ice cream, and you were saying, I think Casey, you were saying like, no, vanilla's good. There's no problem with vanilla, but the whole thing about it is that you've got to add something to make it a little more interesting. And that to me is what makes Ben Johnson so beautiful. Is, to be fair, Ben Johnson doesn't run a very complicated scheme. It's not like I'll give you an example. Shane Waldron, who a lot of other people like, he gets a little unique and exotic in some of his personnel usages, some of the ways that he motions players.
Where's Waldron from?
Waldron's the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator. Okay. He's got a McVay background. But Ben Johnson, he's a guy that runs a lot of staple concepts. The run game is incredibly multiple, uses all different types of runs. But his whole thing is vanilla. But the difference is he sprinkles some chocolate chips, some sprinkles in there, because he just adds little wrinkles where all of a sudden you saw this motion come across, and it was a little jet touch pass to Amon-Ra. Then I'm going to send the same motion, but we're actually going to have a wind back where all of a sudden Amon-Ra's coming back out and being a slice route. So
So I don't know if he's calling Flus a douche here or what that
is. Eber douche, but I mean
Eber douche.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the thing. Ben Johnson is my king of the castle as far as if it's not Jim Harbaugh, you want Ben Johnson. If you're looking for an offensive mind, you want Ben Johnson.
I would like for once an offensive coordinator that will set up plays down the road with formation.
Please and thank you.
Well, give me some build off of the formation, and you're thinking, okay, 10 plays, 15 plays down the road, I'm going to run this play. Looks like this play, and then get a big hit off. We haven't had that many explosive plays this year, man. It's really hurting the offense. I mean, look at the Lions, man. Like Jordan says. How many explosive plays per game are the Lions get compared to the Bears? And I know it's a lot more. Because,
I want to touch on what J2K is saying here, because like J2K, this is specifically why I brought up the point that that's a fair concern, but it's why I literally said the line in Detroit is seldom healthy. They are constantly having to swap out. They had a 7th rounder, an undrafted guard starting a couple weeks ago. He continues to find a way to make the offense tick with those O-line substitutions. And look no further than he's gotten Jared Goff back to the McVay level of play. And I mean, you're just going to say Goff just bumped his head one day and became this guy? Like, it's actually the exact same. Well, and Tooch, I mean, anybody that watched the NFL, if you go back and watch Jared Goff when he was good with the Rams, it's because they had Todd Gurley, a guy, I mean, Gibbs kind of like Todd Gurley. And you got a player in Goff that the entire offense ran off of play action. Yep. And what is Ben Johnson doing? The reason Goff looks like he did in LA is because the play action's all there. because they run the ball so well, because they're running trap
That's
and
what I'm talking
counter
about.
and pin and pull and toss. And like, it's just, look, if regardless, the Bears suck today, fine. Watch the Lions offense. And Tooch, you're going to love it. I don't know if you watch much Lions ball. Just watch some of the ways that he sets up plays.
He's gonna set up shit for down the road, and we're gonna get burned. I know it already. I mean,
I'm telling you, like, I like watching good football, and Ben Johnson calls good football.
Yeah, Khalif Raymond will be like later on in the game catching a 20-yard pass based off of some play action. You know, their third wide receiver, or fourth wide receiver, or whatever it is.
Well, they took a big draft pick on Jameson Williams, and that hasn't worked out thus far. But
good point. Yep,
maybe
hasn't showed up.
Jameson needed to be healthy, which he had. I mean, he was coming off the injury, and then he needed to not gamble and lose 6 games in his second season. Those things would help get you on the field.
Yeah, but once he does get on the field, they're not. I don't know if they're not using him or I don't watch a ton of Lions football. I see the highlights mostly.
Yeah, no, he hasn't. To be fair, he's been a big letdown. He has not produced very much. But if anybody were to go back and watch Jameson towards, call it the last 5 games of last year for the Lions, there were plenty of plays where there was obviously a few catches were highlights where he's just burning people. But there were actually quite a few missed plays where he was just beating his DBs left and right. And it was just not the connection there where Goff wasn't able to hit him because you probably were lacking that chemistry. But point still taken, AC. Absolutely. Jameson has not panned out for the investment that they've spent.
Yeah. What was that, 2 years ago draft or right? 2?
2 years. Yeah, 2 years ago. No, it's last year. Last year was his rookie year.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. So I mean, not this year. Two drafts ago. I mean,
yes.
Chris raising his hand like we're in school. Go ahead, Chris.
I know it's cut them short as well. It looks even worse. But one of the things that really worries me is if their offense gets quite far ahead of our offense, i.e., if they score like a couple of quick touchdowns, I think we're screwed offensive wise because I just don't think we have the scheme where we can come back from like any sort of deficit more than maybe 3 to a couple of touchdowns. So I just hope our defense can keep it manageable for our offenses. I think if we get far behind in the scoring, I think we're going to be screwed. I think it'll be a bit like, I don't know, when we play the Chargers or the Saints, something like that.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe Ben Johnson will have a feeling about that as well and try to take deep shots early, which, we've got our safeties back, at least for now. So that should help with that. But Matthew Fulci just said, can the Bears create a turnover today? That was part of Flus's hits philosophy. The T is for the ball, taking the ball away and taking care of the ball offensively. And we haven't really seen that. Kyler Gordon looked really close last Thursday. But he was playing really well. Shout out to Kyler for starting to seem like he's putting it together. Maybe he was just playing a bad team. I don't know. But you got to get turnovers. I want to see Bojack go back to what Bojack was when he wore 39 and he was running back pick sixes, and it looked so much fun. Now you got Sweat in there helping get pressures. Hopefully he can get to Goff today and make him make some mistakes, because that is when Goff rushes and makes mistakes, is when he starts getting pressured. That's the whole reason why you traded for Sweat.
Yep,
So
got to get pressure. And you
definitely
know
that's a
what?
key factor today.
It's Kyler Gordon got to have a big game today because he's up against St. Brown in the slot. So the Lions have the good St. Brown brother. We have the other one.
Hey, I'll take that St. Brown over who we were rolling out there before with Claypool and
exactly. That's the thing. We had guys like Equinemius and Dante Foreman on the bench that were inactive.
Yeah,
how they could have helped us back. The earlier part of the season. Yeah, it goes back to coaching. Exactly, goes back to coaching. Yeah, if you're gonna beat the Lions, say Kyler Gordon has to clamp down on Amon-Ra. That's just the way it is.
I'm saying the key to that is to rough him up. You don't see anybody really put hands on Amon-Ra St. Brown at all. I mean, it's a part of his technique because he can get off really fucking well. But I'm from the old school way of football thinking. It's the same way I said about the Broncos when they went to the Super Bowl and them being too soft. Put hands on people. Putting hands on people, it changes them. You land one big hit on them and you get in their face and let them know, hey, bro, I'm gonna be here all damn day. and then you put another one on them, then they start to think, you know what, maybe I need to second guess this catch.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm hearing those footsteps. That's what you got to do. Now, I believe Kyler Gordon is able to do it. It's just the fact is if he's going to be using that way, or we're going to play that soft coverage shit again. So,
well, if they're doing that, do you think it'd be better to kind of bracket him with Brisker? Because Brisker will hit you whether he's got concussions or not.
You have to.
listen,
You got to bump him at the line and let Brisker throw a shot at him when he catches the ball.
exactly.
Put him down hard.
And I'm not talking about on no damn, you know what I'm saying, no snipe gate shit and trying to get the boy hurt or nothing. I'm just saying pure football, bro.
Yep.
Bump a dude, let somebody else lay a hit on his ass. That will get anybody looking over their shoulder. That is how you can beat the Detroit Lions. Pressure on Goff, take my man out the game. Yeah. Make them go to Laporta the whole game.
Yep. Yeah, Swifty had that comment. We've been doing the latter. It's the former. We've been stopping the run, man. We're number 2 in the NFL versus the run.
Yeah.
We just haven't been able to get it. Yeah, cuz been balling, man. I told you. We haven't been able to pressure the quarterback. That's the thing, man. Maybe today they pressure the quarterback. The Lions have a hell of have an offensive line.
Yeah, Phil Cheesy say let Edwards load the boom. I mean, I know we had a lot of talk, and a lot of Bears podcasts have talked about Roquan leaving and bringing in Edwards in that spot. Yeah. Well, Edwards is still putting up great numbers in that spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Roquan's getting a lot of the love because they're a playoff contender and we're not, but Edwards' numbers are definitely up there. Now, it's hard for me to trust him in coverage, though. I mean, I watched Aaron Jones abuse him all day week 1, and I haven't seen much since then to prove to me otherwise, but that'll be a tough one. I'd like to see Edwards get involved today. And you talk about getting pressure and getting picks, that's going to be our linebacking core has to be a part of that with blitzes and staying focused and staying where you're supposed to be. This defense is based off all being in the right place at the right time. And bending but not breaking. And I think it'd be a big thing for Edwards today to get involved. I'm seeing things in the chat about Bayless.
Herbert's going to play today?
I think he's brought.
I think he's off IR. You wouldn't take him off IR if you didn't have intentions of playing him.
Right. I was just wondering if his ankle was still.
I guess I should back up and say that's the logical perspective, but this coaching staff has.
You want explosive plays, man. Get 24 in the game, right?
He's got about a 51% chance of playing. I can't believe it.
Well, no, even better. We got to look at the tape. We got to look at the tape first.
I guess hold on. The real question is, did Khalil Herbert have a good Wednesday practice? That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't have a good fucking Wednesday, he's not playing.
Right.
Hey, Tevin's really just mashing dudes. He's really pancaking them. Why isn't he playing? Well, he's going to have to split time with Patrick because he didn't have a good Wednesday practice. Just unfucking believable.
I'm looking at the injury report right now on ESPN on their app. It says Jack Sanborn's questionable with an ankle. Tremaine Edmonds questionable with the knee. Noah Sewell is out with the knee. Dante Foreman is questionable with an ankle.
Oh, okay.
It goes back to August. So it looks like the linebacker core might be a little thin today if those guys aren't playing or are questionable.
I promise you, Laporta, Gibbs, and Montgomery are going to test those linebackers all day.
Yeah.
All day.
You don't think Montgomery is up for this game, man? I'm telling you. So, he wants a piece of the Bears right now, man. I'm telling you. He might have game.
I don't know if he looks at it like that because we did offer him what he got out there. He just chose to go there.
He wanted to win.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't think there's – don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's a revenge element, but I don't really I don't think it's that sense of revenge of like, I'm going to fucking stick it to this team. I just think that David Montgomery is a hard runner and he always runs hard.
Right,
and there's just a little more of a –
We saw that here.
If I could – look, it's a business decision game. Other games where I would maybe feel a little tired on this run and I'd maybe just ease my way out of bounds. No, this is my former team. I'm going to find a way to try to put my helmet in somebody's chest and drive for an extra 2 or 3 yards. That's the type of game I think you're going to see.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing him and Sanborn meeting up in the hole, see how that looks, because that'd be. I love me some. I bought his jersey. I love me some Sanborn.
I gotta be honest with you. I think Sanborn probably wins that. Even though today, like I really do. It's not even a shot at Montgomery. I'm happy for David Montgomery. He's another Roquan where his career is not just going down the dumpster. But I mean, in this respect, I think everybody saw the 75-yard touchdown last week. It was like, oh my God, he's just never done that.
Did they offer him $2 million more?
I always had heard that we matched the offer, and he chose to go to the Lions. I don't know where
I don't know for sure
information's from. I know that was one of the big things that I listened to Mike North's press conference quite a bit on Spotify, and that was one of his big things about this regime as a whole was just letting guys leave. Guys like Montgomery. Of course, he's still upset about Trubisky not being here, I guess, but other than that, not offering Roquan what he wanted, and then not letting Montgomery leave, and now we're in this situation with Jalen Johnson where it feels like deja vu. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously, who knows if it's $2 million or $500,000, like Mike's saying. But I mean, if you take somebody like resident scout Greg Gabriel, who comes from this line of thinking, which I'm kind of this way in real life, but I also think that you don't lose deals over being so strict and stringent in your requirements. But Greg Gabriel always says this regime, it's what Greg likes about him, is that they'll look at a guy like Montgomery and go, look, your number is 4. And if it's 4.1, then you can fucking hit the door, my guy, because it's 4 and it's nothing more. And I mean, that's unfortunately how you end up with situations like, well, the Lions offered him $500,000 more. You really want to let your running back go to a divisional opponent? Well, it's that $500,000 a year. We're just not willing to break the bank for it. It's how they do business. Like I said, I don't think Montgomery's really the biggest problem. But to your point, AC, there's a little bit of a track record here. Something if I could bring up, because I see Swifty and others in the chat, Bears fans should be happy as hell this morning, because Rap Sheet has apparently come out and said that per the Bears, they would have to be blown away by quarterbacks in the 2024 draft class in order to move on from Justin Fields. Now, obviously, you could just say that.
That's what they said last year, too, though.
Yeah, I know. Now, of course, I'm going to sit there and say, well, it's pretty easy to get your face blown off watching Drake May or Caleb Williams throw. But if you're a Justin Fields supporter, there may be some hope for you left.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a tough spot. I want Justin to work out, obviously, but I just don't know if the money situation lines up. And some people might call that a cop-out, but you're going to have to pay this guy $40 million a year in the next couple of years. You know what I mean? So and with a regime trying to rebuild, I just don't know if you can put that amount of capital to a quarterback who, I know winning is not a quarterback stat specifically, but he's won, 5 games since he's been here in 3 years? I mean,
and there's been a whole lot of opportunities. And it's not all him. I think back to when
the defense screwed. He should have had that win at Pittsburgh. The defense screwed a lot of those wins where he would anywhere else that would be a last-minute touchdown.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why, I hope I don't sound like I just hate Justin Fields. It's actually not the kid. It's just the timeline. But actually, the Justin Fields career in Chicago is a fucking tragedy. You think about it, he's had plenty of times where he's thrown the game-ending interception, Tampa Bay, Detroit, a few others. But you also think back to some of those throws. So to your point, the defense had a few games where he'd put up the game-winning touchdown, the defense would let up another score. He's also had quite a few, whether it was Mooney in the Washington game that dropped the pass that should have got them the game, EQ that dropped a ball that hit him right in the hands against the Dolphins. There's been quite a few games where Justin Fields has got the shaft by other teammates.
Yeah, it just sucks for him, and I could definitely see him going somewhere else, like in Atlanta, and just using. Well, I don't even know about Atlanta anymore. Their head coach seems like almost as dumb as ours, just the offensive version of it. How do you have Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London? You went out and got Mac Hollins, and you add all these pieces on offense, and you don't know how to use them. Even with an experienced quarterback with Heineke, and now they're going back to Desmond Ridder, who, shout out to Cincinnati. I thought he'd be good in the league, but he hasn't.
I thought he would be too. He's my top quarterback in that class, and it's tough. I mean, that offense is, and I'm a big Arthur Smith fan. Like, I was really a big fan of his coming out, and his offense still does interesting things, but it's funky, and it almost like I just listened to somebody, I'm forgetting who it was, but they were just talking about how it feels like it's intentional. There's some purpose on the way they run offense to piss off fantasy owners, and that's a joke. But, I mean, it's true. Like, you got guys like Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and you don't want to get them the ball. We're not even talking about Bijan Robinson right now. It's just – But, I mean, you're – just a little quick sidebar. Promise it'll be quick. But somebody had put in the chat, like, I just want to see Justin Fields get a fair shake because he's been behind the 8 ball since he got here. And I think that is really – there's some real consideration for guys like me that are like, hey, the Bears should just draft a new quarterback. It's really important to realize – just what you're bringing a quarterback into. And to that point, I mean, Kyle Long said it about Mitch Trubisky that they weren't ready for Mitch. I'd argue the same thing with Justin Fields. The Bears were just in the middle of cap hell with Ryan Pace. You weren't really sold on the organization and keeping those guys that drafted him. And so you bring a rookie quarterback into a shaky situation. The reason I bring this up is whether it's Caleb, whether it's Drake, whether it's J.J. McCarthy, Jaden Daniels, take any quarterback and put them in Atlanta system. Good offensive line, good running backs, good receiver, good tight end. That is what you ideally want to bring a rookie or a young quarterback into. And unfortunately, I don't know. I guess there's a question to you guys. Do you feel like the Bears have that similar situation for whether it's, I mean, let's say it's not Fields because he's already experienced. He's already got his years in the league. But you're talking about bringing a rookie quarterback in. Do the Bears have an infrastructure to support that guy right now?
No. And I threw this comment up on the screen because I don't know how we still have fans like this. Fields is 6-26. Bagent is 2-2 and fits the scheme. They start Bagent next year and let Ben choose his own quarterback if we don't make playoffs next year. Look, man, Bagent is a backup quarterback. He was fine. He went 2-2, but he threw like 8 interceptions and had like 2 fumbles. Like, and maybe I read his comment wrong, but I feel like he's just a Bagent supporter, and I don't get it. You're out on Fields already, but you're still in on Bagent, even though Bagent has turned the ball over.
He played on some bad teams.
George is asking who's Ben. Ben is Ben Johnson, George. The presumption is that Ben Johnson would choose Chicago, which I already have a little bit of like, I wouldn't bet. I mean, Ben Johnson's going to have his fucking choice of where to go.
He turned down a head coaching job just last year. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, and don't get me wrong, having the 2 high first-round picks, being able to start over at quarterback in a nice market where it's on record the owners aren't really going to mess with you, there's a lot of allure to the Chicago Bears job. But there's also a hell of a lot of history that says, do not come and be the head coach in this town. It will not lead well for you. And I wonder if Ben Johnson takes some of that and goes, yo, I've got every opportunity. I can go anywhere I want. I'd rather go coach the Chargers. I'd rather go do something else other than go to the Bears.
J2K is absolutely right in saying that drafting a quarterback with your coach and GM on the hot seat, you're putting yourself in the same position you were when you drafted Justin and put it all on him. And then he didn't pan out because he wasn't taught correctly. Then you brought in another coaching staff that didn't teach him correctly. I did see, and I don't know if it was a fake Twitter account or what, but I did see that Jim Harbaugh is interested in coming back to Chicago. And I think he is
that a couple times.
I think he is absolutely done with Michigan and all the bullshit that the NCAA pushes toward them. So I think that I think that's the number one choice is to bring Jim back.
Certainly.
I don't know how he gets along with management. I don't know how he gets along with the president, and that could be an issue in the interview process. But
that's why I don't think it's going to work.
Well, at this point, I don't give a fuck. They fist fight in the hallways at Howlers Hall. And as long as we get back to winning,
I mean, but like,
I don't give a goddamn. I'll be there and I'll record the fights. Goddamn it, we need to figure something out.
Look, and I'm a big Ben Johnson supporter, but I'll be the first to say Jim Harbaugh is the answer. But like, let's be real here. The guy idolizes Mike Ditka. And George McCaskey and the McCaskey family fucking hates Ditka. And the reason for that is he was a good coach, but he was the star of the show. And they will not allow a head coach to be running the organization and be the face of the city. It is the Bears first. And this is the problem. Like, Harbaugh, I'd love to talk myself into Jim Harbaugh being the guy. But it's just, there's too much friction. And then he's already a divisive figure. You think Kevin Warren is going to love Jim Harbaugh?
It makes too much sense. That's why I'm like, it's, I don't think it'll happen. And I don't the Bears will cock it up somehow,
I mean, they'll probably just win a couple games here down the stretch against the Falcons, the Cardinals, maybe beat the Packers in the last week of the season, and they'll say, we've won double the amount of games we won last week. We're going to keep rolling with Flus. We're just going to keep it rolling.
Yeah, Poles has kept his cards close to the vest on whether or not Flus and his staff are gone next year. So that's not unexpected, right, Jordan? Because you're not going to. No. He's gone after the year and stuff like that. But I mean, he came out.
That's the same comment today about Justin Fields. Like, we'd have to be blown away. You're not going to go, well, yeah, let me tell you, Justin Fields on the hot seat. He better be the best quarterback in these 7 games, or he's fucking out of town. Like, that's not going to do that. So, I mean, you always understand it's word salad poker. But I mean, at the end of the day, as J2K was saying, yeah, you absolutely wouldn't want to bring a quarterback and repeat the Nagy pace era. But that's where I think this is a really critical offseason for the Bears, because if you are intent on hiring a new coach, the new coach is always going to want to pick his quarterback, his guy. And if you're letting him do that, then you are absolutely 1,000%. You should. Now, whether they do or not is a different story. 1,000%, you need to marry Ryan Poles for the next 5 years. You do not switch your GM. I don't care if he continues to draft total busts. You let him ride with the head coach and the quarterback for the next 4 or 5 years. That is the way to do it.
Well, I know there was another thing that came out about Jalen Carter this week. He was at a Target and some girl he was with stole some stuff or something, and I don't know what the whole story was, but that guy, as good as he is on the field, his off the field stuff is what kept Poles away from him, and it's continuing even now. I thought, okay, you go to Philly, you're surrounded by a bunch of Georgia Bulldogs, they'll keep you in line.
You want water?
But it didn't happen that way.
Sorry, KB.
And now we're seeing these issues pop up with him again. I am happy with the Darnell Wright pick. Poles has definitely made some questionable decisions, from drafting to trades. But and maybe I'm just naive, but I feel like I still trust him to make the right decisions. And now if he sticks with Flus after this season, then maybe he's losing a lot of my trust. But I feel like I'm okay with Poles staying. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm only trying to play devil's advocate. I don't think he at all made a wrong decision with Darnell Wright. Not one bit. But I also think that any great football team doesn't have a team full of acquired kids. They usually have, some centers. And I'm not saying that Jalen Carter would have even been 9/10 of the player that he is in Philly with the Bears. But just I know you're not supposed to take it on positional need, but as much as people want to talk about Johnny Newton from Illinois as the 3 tech, he doesn't fucking hold a candle to Jalen Carter. And like I said, I'm not mad they took Wright, but it's just, you can Talicia, can't say his first name, Fuaga, the Oregon State right tackle. You can get good tackles pretty much every year. Yeah. 3 tech is one of the most hard positions to nail down. And it'll just, like I said, I don't think that they necessarily made a bad move, but it's just going to be one that always sticks back of like, damn, you really passed up on that guy.
I just know what I saw live. When I saw Jalen Carter come in to Kentucky it was today last year that Georgia came in and played Kentucky against a rebuilt offensive line, and Jalen Carter had a tackle, 0 sacks, 0 pressures against our rebuilt offensive line. And what I saw out of Deion Walker last night against South Carolina is what I expected to see out of Jalen Carter last year in every game, and I didn't see it. If I'm drafting, at that time we had the number 1 overall pick. If I'm drafting a defensive tackle that high, he's got to be a game wrecker, game in and game out. And maybe Jalen Carter has been that in Philly, but it hasn't
that's
been.
What I'm saying. Like, so how do you parse that? Like, do you not think that
I think it's the talent around him. I think he is good, but I don't think he is this greatest defensive tackle of all time that he's been built up as. With people saying that he was the best prospect in the draft last year, I don't believe that. I didn't see that live, so my eyeballs are telling me something different than what everyone who is a draft expert is telling me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Go ahead.
I'll say this because I feel like this is a good way to bring this to a head. I will say this: if the Bears drafted Jalen Carter, he would not have made as much of an impact this year for us as Darnell Wright has made for us.
Absolutely.
That being said, I get the whole you can get a good tackle every year. And right now, it's starting to look like we have one of the better tackles that came out of that draft. He alone has made himself a good player. He's had nothing but goddamn bullshit going on from to the left of him for the whole year, and yet he still found a way to be a decent tackle. If Jalen Carter was, you said what?
He's blocking people with one arm.
Exactly. And he's blocking very good people with
Max
one
Crosby
arm.
with one arm, not just people.
So as much as we go back and forth with the Jalen Carter thing, and I'm just talking about us, I'm talking about Bears fans in general. You have to look at the shit in totality. The D line was not in the best position. Jalen Carter comes here and he has a couple of those games where he wants to take plays off and look like how he looked at Georgia. Then we're looking at him and we're having people talk about him the way they talked about Javon Dexter. Is he good or is he not? Was he worth that pick or was he not? Right now, we have to be okay with what we got. And I know a lot of us are. We're definitely fine with Darnell Wright because he's starting to look like a fixture. Now, if we were in the Eagles position, then by all means, you go and draft Jalen Carter because you have the talent around him where he can shine. Because everybody else is gonna get those double teams and people are gonna focus more on them. I would rather have a rookie beat me rather than goddamn Hassan Reddick wreck a game. Or was Brandon Graham still on their team?
You know, he's still there.
Yeah, or you have Brandon Graham wrecking plays up the middle. So yeah, Jalen Carter looks good for the Philadelphia Eagles because he has all that around him. Darnell Wright has looked good with nothing but chaos around him. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration.
Absolutely. Well, we need to start to wrap this thing up because we got about 20 minutes. I want to definitely make sure I'm out of here today on time. So we'll go around the room. I'll start with KB and go down to Jordan, Chris, Tooch, and I'll finish this up. Give me a score prediction, a bold prediction, an MVB, and we'll wrap this thing on up. Go ahead, KB.
Oh, brother. Oh, boy. This score is going to scare the shit out of me. Whew. 17 points for us, right? I'll give us 17. And baby girl like that, apparently. I'm going to give the Lions, let's say, 35. So 17 to 35. I'm going to say, and I seen somebody saying you can't use that as an excuse or whatever the case is. Justin Fields got hurt this year. It's not a fucking excuse to sit there and say the kid might still be in some type of pain. I don't think he's going to come in and light the Detroit Lions up. Don't think he's going to come in and throw for more than 300 yards. Don't think he's going to come in and have a 4-touchdown game performance. What I believe is going to happen, he's going to come out. He's going to look decent. We're going to all say the same thing. We want to see more as usual, but it's to be expected. He hasn't played the 4 games, and it's on his throwing hand. That being said, MVP, I'm going to say D'Onta Foreman. Hopefully they actually lean on him this game. You know, he carved the fucking the Lions up last year with the Panthers. Right now, that him and DJ Moore are the best players you have on offense with Cole Kmet coming in third. They need to focus on those three players to make this offense go. That's the best thing you got. Bringing Khalil Herbert off the bench to let Khalil Herbert eat. But I don't think they figured that out this week. And for whatever reason, it's been 7-8 weeks, and we're still trying to figure out what the fuck the offense is. So, bold prediction. I give Kyler Gordon an interception today.
Nice. Okay.
You know, Kyler does have his moments where he plays super aggressive. Maybe he sees something and he jumps a route that's supposed to be going to Armand St. Brown. So I'll give Kyler the interception, but like I said, it's not going to be enough. Lions win this game. Like I said, 35-17.
Yeah.
Shout outs, all you boys, man. Love y'all boys. Y'all know how it is. Love everybody in the chat. But that thing right there that's super excited for no fucking reason is pulling my attention at the moment. Love you boys, man. I'm going to jump off right now so I can handle her.
All right, KB.
See you later,
brother.
Later.
Take care, brother.
All right, go ahead, Jordan.
All righty. Love KB. So score, let's go 31-13. Obviously Lions I got winning this game. I just same point. I think that maybe you get a touchdown. It's going to be probably through the run game. I just think some of this too is I'm not even here telling you Tyson Bagent's that dude. It's just that Tyson Bagent will likely keep, if he were playing, would likely keep the game and the offense on schedule a little more frequently than Justin Fields, who has a penchant for taking sacks and putting the offense behind the sticks. So I think 31-13. Bold prediction. I mean, I probably should go with something more bold, but I think I just want to be funny, and so I'm going to say you're going to get that play today, AC, where Sanborn's going to meet Monty in the hole, and Sanborn's going to lay the wood on Montgomery one time. I mean, Montgomery can still have a great game, but there's going to be a clash of the Titans there in the hole.
Yep.
So that is the bold prediction. As far as MVP, give me Roschon Johnson, just because I'm not too sure about Foreman. I think that they may actually go, hey, you're not 100% healthy. You're the guy that's similar to Foreman is Johnson, so maybe we see Johnson take some of those carries.
Good call. You want to hit shout outs and we'll go to.
Oh, yes, of course. Shout outs as always. You fellas, always a fantastic time, whether we're talking draft, college football, talking about just theoreticals about picking different players, sliding doors in the NFL. Chat as always, whether it's Swifty, Focheezy, Sanders, Bear Down Davis, Mike, George, John, everybody that's here. Always we appreciate it. We wouldn't have a show without you all being here to interact, and you give us plenty to talk about. And that's what
100%.
So keep it coming, and Aldo would have my head if I didn't say please like the video, subscribe, help out the algorithm, keep these lights on. Aldo does a lot to make sure that all these services keep running, and why we have so many shows. So please continue to do that, and I hope you all have a blessed week and enjoy the games today.
Absolutely, you too. Go ahead, Chris.
Regarding the game, I think the score is going to be 28-14 to the Lions. I just think if they, like I said before, if they put a few quick scores up on us, I just think even with Justin Fields back, our offense is going to struggle to compete with somebody who's scoring at a high rate. I think really my sort of player of the game maybe might be Sweat. I'd just like to see him sort of continue with them pressures, and also with him playing, he seems to be opening up the defensive line for a lot of the other guys to get sacks.
Like that pick.
I'd say Sweat's my man, but I just think they just got too much quality for us at this moment in time, Detroit. I think their offense is an offense what really we need to strive to be like. And I just think with their offensive line, I just think they're going to edge it. But I just don't want it to be an embarrassment. I want us to compete. I don't want to see play, because that bursting out at that sort of part of the season where we know we're not going to get to a place where we might as well just start evaluating players and see if any players are improving, throughout the rest of the season. But I think alas, I think it's going to be a Lions win. Shout out to you guys. It's always a great way to spend my Sunday afternoon with you boys and everybody in the chat. You would have us and you make, the only reason we're here is because of the chat. So everybody have a good and safe week. And speak to you next week, and hopefully we'll get a win. But honestly, the Lions are going to be too strong this time.
Awesome. You stole my MVP. I appreciate it.
Yes!
Go
I
ahead.
like that pick too. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack here. Look, Fields has sat and watched for what, 4 games?
Mm-hmm.
So, if he learned anything, we're going to find out.
You don't get better by not playing.
I know, but he watched Tyson Bagent operate within the scheme. It is what it is. Look, the coaching staff has not figured out a good way to use Fields, and teams arguably have stopped Fields from breaking out the long runs. I mean, you've seen it. They've figured out keep him in the pocket, and it's probably why the Bears coaches have wanted him to stay in the pocket more, because teams just aren't letting him escape. If he does escape, I think he runs for a long one today. That's definitely going to help the Bears. But this 4-game stretch here, we're going twice Lions, once versus the Vikings, and arguably the Browns. We got a better chance now that Deshaun Watson's gone for the season. But these next 4 games today and the next 3 after that, you're going to find out a lot about the Bears, Matt Eberflus and Justin Fields. I'll tell you that right now. As far as the score, 30-20 Lions. In Vegas set this total around 47.5. I kind of like this game to go over today. It wouldn't surprise me though if the Bears don't score as much as we think they will. In Detroit last year, they put up 10. Arguably, it was the worst team back then. We didn't have DJ Moore. We have a better offensive line today, so I'm going to go 30-20. The original line was Detroit by 10. It's gone down to 7.5, and I'm afraid that line. Lowering that line to 7.5, is to suck Bears, to trap Bears money coming in. So I'm going to take the Lions to win in this one. And I got to break some news here. I just got some texts from Anthony and Sean, my partners on Weekend Sports Betting Tips, and they want to do a Thanksgiving morning show to break down some Thanksgiving action for betting tips. So if you want to be here, get some betting tips, and go watch football all day on Thursday, you should tune in. We're going to give you some free plays for the day. Last Friday, we were 4-0 with the free picks. So tune in there.
There's no better place to get your betting news for free. So you can make some money to pay back all that damn money you spent for all that food.
Yep. And Sean and Anthony, they're very sharp guys as far as wagering.
But Tooch, how you announced that? It did sound like the president has been shot. Somebody fit? What's Tooch going to announce? It sounded like somebody famous has been shot or something.
Yeah, breaking news. I'm sorry to let you down a little bit there. And this is not a Lions shirt; it's a Peace, Love, in Iowa shirt. So if people were wondering, I didn't. I just throw it on this morning, man. I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of Lions colors.
This is an undercover Lions fan.
My Bears T-shirt that I usually wear was in the wash. So anyways,
okay, dude, you're
most valuable
for today.
Most valuable. I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney. Like I said, the Lions not as good against the second wide receiver. So maybe Mooney sneaks in for a touch. He has no touchdowns this year. He's overdue. So yeah, I'll take Mooney.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. If you want to hit your shout outs and I'll finish this off.
Yep. Shout outs to my co-host on Barfly Tailgate right here. All the chat, man. Chat was on fire today.
Yeah.
On fire. Man, I was like, there's some good spirited discussions in there, a little bit of argument. Never got really out of control, though. It was great. And then Aldo, of course, for letting us do what we do. And then let's go Bears today. I'll be rooting for him. I'm not confident, though. I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, shout out to you guys for coming on here. And talking with us, Tooch, as everyone has said, coming on Thursday morning to give us a little bit of Black Friday money. I appreciate it, man. That would definitely be helpful to put some money in the pocket. But definitely shout out to y'all. Shout out to the chat for coming in. Like you said, Tooch, they were on fire today. They had all kinds of comments and questions and input. Shout out to Jordan for giving us the rundown of how he sees players in the draft, because as much as we hate to say it, the Bears got 2 top 5 picks right now. So the draft is always looming for us. maybe one day I'll be, as a Bears fan, happy for the playoffs and the Super Bowl and all that. But until then, the draft will be my Super Bowl, and I'll continue to watch college football and try and create my opinions off what I see, as well as taking into consideration what others see. So that's definitely shout out to Jordan for that. Shout out to you, Chris, for coming in from across the pond. And you're coming in 4K today, man. You pulled out the laptop and you're looking clean and crisp. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my score prediction. Look, the Lions gave up a lot of points the last couple of weeks. Justin Fields is coming back, and I think he's got something to prove. I think it's a closer game than everyone else is thinking, and I don't see the Bears winning because I think it comes down to coaching, and I think the Lions have the better coach, and I don't know if anyone can disagree with that. But I do think there's a lot of points scored. Tucci talked about the over-under. I think I would love to see the over hits today.
Yeah.
I think the final score is like Lions 35, Bears 30 or 31, something like that. I think they put up a lot of points. My MVP, since Chris Watts stole mine, I'll go to the other side of the ball. I think Cole Kmet comes out with something to prove against this team. I think he gets 2 touchdowns. So that'll be my MVP and maybe my bold prediction.
Yeah, I picked him before, and he's scored. Every time I pick him, he scored touchdowns. I should have. I thought about Kmet too. I like that pick.
Yeah. I think Kmet has a big game today.
Yeah.
I just lost. Okay, so I gave my MVP, my bold prediction, my score prediction. I gave all that. So last but not least, shout out.
Fantasy Football Goon coming up next.
Oh yeah. Fantasy Goon coming up next to help you set your lineup, who to start, who to sit. Those bye weeks are starting to hit, so they're going to tell you who to try and pick up at the last second, hopefully, and stick them in your lineup. Who's going to have a big game? Swifty says that Tremaine Edmonds and Jack Sanborn are both active today, so we'll have to see how they work that thing out.
I think Edmonds should be on the outside. I kind of like Sanborn in the middle, but that's just me.
Yeah.
They got video of Justin Fields striping a 40-yard ball. It's practice, it's warm-ups, but striping a 40-yard ball, no base under him, scrambling 40 yards down the field to Roshan Johnson. So I'm just saying, that looks like there's some health in that arm, that hand. It should be looking good.
I thought
Roshan will be playing until it looks like he'll get some play time too.
Yeah.
I thought Justin was going to play last week. So with an extra 10 days under his belt to get healthy, I think he is good to go. And I think he shows it today. I think that offense has the ability to bust open today. As long as we don't see Getsy continuously go. Because if you try to screen this team, they're aggressive like their coach. They're gonna shut that down quick, I think.
Yeah.
But until next week, man, we'll just leave everybody. Oh, actually, I also tune in at halftime and after the game. Bears football will be live to break down halftime and the post-game show. But until next week, we'll just leave everybody with a bear down.
Bear down,
everybody.
Bear down.